So today we're gonna start a 4-session series on the Four Immeasurables, which are sort of also known as the Four Boundless Qualities in Buddhism, which are compassion, which we'll be discussing today, loving kindness, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. And the plan is, given um, the universe is cooperative, we will try to explore each one of those over the next 4 sessions. So with that, of course, just a reminder, there's a few ways we can donate. I'll put those in the chat. And all of our teachings come from Phuntsok's experience as a Tibetan Buddhist monk and practitioner, and his last 10 or 15 years of teaching more informally as a monk, practitioner, human being, person.
As always, thank you very much, Nizam. And thank you everyone for joining us to help me go deeper into what I love the most, which is expanding our minds and our hearts, and to do it in a way that is not just philosophical and abstract, but a way that is immediately applicable. All right, so let's get right to it. Let's do the meditation part. So tell yourself that you're going to enter a meditation and allow all the different dimensions of you to respond to your intention. Allow their understanding of meditation to come to the surface. So no need to impose on any of your parts, any of your dimension. This is what meditation is, and this is what you're going to do. But feel meditation and allow the different dimensions to connect to its definition as deeply as they understand it. The physical, the energetic, the emotional, the intellectual, the non-dual, the conceptual, the non-conceptual. And I will include the astral. I'm not being new agey. The part that is in the dream, that we connect in dream. Okay. Feeling their response to your intention. Allow their intelligences to guide you. How should the physical body be? Listen. Make adjustments according to their insights, their advice. And as you apply their advice, feel yourself actually entering meditation, physically, energetically, mentally. Feeling the readiness in the body, feeling the readiness energetically. Come to the bridge of the breath. Simply observing the breath, knowing you're breathing in as you breathe in, you're breathing out as you breathe out. Getting ready in the breath, gently, fully. Take a deep breath. Through the nose, breathe in. Hold the breath, steadying ourselves, readying ourselves, feeling connection. Release, And as you release the breath, deeply let yourself go, let yourself go, let yourself go. Go into that state that is arising, the calm, the pleasantness, the clarity, the radiance. Stay in it. As you leave the breath alone, stay in it. And getting ready to go even deeper, gently, fully breathe in. Hold the breath, steadying yourself, readying yourself to go even deeper into the signs of calm, pleasantness, clarity, radiance, focus. Release the breath. And as you release, feel yourself going deeper, enjoy it, letting go, let yourself go. Deeper into the joy, deeper into the peace, deeper into the clarity. Stay, leaving the breath alone. Whatever arises, know it's arising from because of the spaciousness of clarity of your mind. Rejoice that you are aware of it because of the luminosity of your mind. And for the third time, gently, fully breathe in. Hold the breath, steadying yourself, readying yourself to go even deeper into your own nature. And release. And as you release, let yourself go, let yourself go, let yourself go. Find yourself holding, let go, let yourself holding, let go. Allow, let be. And stay. Without forcing to stay, without struggling to stay, just abide. Accepting the joy that is arising, enhancing. Through inner sensations, indirectly pointing to your innate clarity and radiance. Allow, let them show you the clarity of your mind. Let them show you the luminosity of your mind. What is referred to as the ultimate, what some can refer to as the divine, what some refer to as the enlightened nature, the authentic being. Know that whatever you are right now, it is an expression of it. In its limitless capacity for expressions, this is one of its expressions. And let go. This is just one of its limitless expressions. This is not the totality of who you are. Even though it feels like the totality, the feeling of this being the totality is just an expression from unlimited, immeasurable expressions. And there is an expression that you aspire to, an expression that is in alignment with the freedom that you are, with the absolute connectedness that is the interbeing. That which in you that is convincing you of this being a reality, of being this another possibility, let it come to the surface. Feel it as a presence. Let it be your teacher, your guide, who can guide you infallibly, who can protect you infallibly. Respect it, trust it, and be grateful to it. Whatever comes to mind, remind yourself, this is but one of the many immeasurable expressions. And wishing to connect to that unfathomable source, untouchable source. Not seeking to touch it, not seeking to see it, but seeking to simply allow and be. Bringing your intention to the fore. Let it inform your being so you can pick up what is necessary for it, what is needed at this time. And get ready to come out of the meditation, gently, fully breathe in and release. And as you release, deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings through the sense of touch, feeling the temperature, the feel of your clothing, the cushion, through the sense of hearing, and through the sense of sight. Okay. All right. I'm not going to promise it's going to be short. Whenever I make that promise, I end up breaking it. So not to break my promise, I'm not going to say this is going to end on time. But we have 4 installments, and this is the first installment on the 4 Immeasurables, also known in their Sanskrit and Pali name as the Brahma Viharas. Brahma could be a confusing term because it is a term that you could say Buddhists borrowed from, I'm not sure if you can call it Hinduism, because there isn't really a thing called Hinduism. It's a bunch of things that they throw the word Hinduism. It's basically saying, oh, the things that those people behind the Hindus Valley, that they're practicing, that we are not practicing, we call those things Hinduism, the things the Hindus do. And the Hindus really, the civilizations that grew out of that really had incredibly diverse philosophies that are put together in one lump sum as Hinduism. There's materialism in the most extreme way that you can think of. There is, and also there's the complete opposite where you're supposed to give up on everything, ideas. So, and everything in between. So, in a way, Buddhism is part of Hinduism. And the way to make the distinction is among the Hinduisms, Hindu philosophies. There are many philosophies that follow the Vedas as authority. and there are Hindu philosophies that do not take the Vedas as authority. And Buddhism and Jainism and some other philosophies fall into the category of those who do not take the Vedas as authority. You probably have heard in some strange way represented to the point where it become there's one that even sounds like it's the correct one when it's not even the correct one, where the Buddha is saying, do not accept something as truth just because it's written in a book called sacred, okay, something like that. So the Buddha was putting that philosophy into practice when he doesn't say the Vedas is garbage. He said he doesn't take it as absolute authority. Okay, there's a difference. Okay, so there are those who follow the Vedas who also, for whom the term Brahma is very key for them. Brahma is considered to be one of the divine expressions. So there is the Brahma, Shiva, and Shiva. Oh my God, what's the other one? Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. Yeah, Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. So these are like the triune expressions of divinity, where you could say the creative power of divinity, the destructive power of divinity, and the sustaining power of divinity. Okay, so that's Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, and Brahma is usually personified as a particular divine being who dwells in some sort of, for lack of a better word, in some sort of a heaven. Okay, in his own realm. But within Buddhism, Brahma is one of the many expressions that one can exist as a divine being. Okay, and there is a kind of meditation state that you achieve, what is called the Brahma state. Okay. And it's considered to be, so the first time you achieve truly stable samadhi, that you're able to enter at will and stay for as long as you want, right above that is considered to be the realm of Brahma. So when you refine that kind of meditation, then the next level it takes you is called the Brahma realm. And the Brahma realm also has its divisions, Brahma with 1,000, Brahma with 2,000, Brahma with 1,000,000, Brahma all alone. Okay. And they are called, the word Brahma means, the term itself means pure. And in what sense is that being pure? That being is pure of the opposites of what you could call the immeasurables. They dwell with a consciousness that is constantly imbued with love, constantly imbued with compassion, constantly imbued with loving, sympathetic joy and equanimity. Okay, so they constantly dwell in those states. And because those beings constantly dwell in those states, those meditations are called abiding in a way that is similar, that is equal to those who live in the realm abide. That's why they call Brahma viharas. Abiding, vihara is an abode or a state of abiding, and Brahma is pure. So pure abiding in purity, abiding in purity of heart. So just for you not to be confused, because unfortunately you're Mahayanis, you've already heard of the term bodhisattvas. You say, oh, so the Brahmas are bodhisattvas? No, they're not bodhisattvas. Okay, and we will get to why they're not bodhisattvas. Okay, they achieve those states, they abide in those states, and those states eventually wear out. Okay, you know how many times you were in the Brahma realms and you abide there for countless ages? You've done that uncountable numbers of time. So those the Brahma states are not permanent states. They're temporary. Incredibly wonderful, incredibly blissful, incredibly warm, but they are temporary states. Okay. Bodhicitta is not temporary. Or the aim of bodhicitta is not temporary. Let's say that. Let's put it that way. Okay. So they are also called and they are also referred to as immeasurable because there are sentiments that are felt without barrier, without constraints, without discrimination. It's love that is unconditional and unbounded. That's how you could say they dwell in just love. They don't have love for this one and no love for that one. And they dwell the only way they relate is with love. The only way they relate is with compassion. The only way they relate is sympathetic joy. The only way they relate is equanimity. Okay, that's the only way. That's your only way of relating. So by practicing these, and you achieve those kinds of abidings, simultaneously with that, you would have achieved a certain samadhi. You have achieved a certain degree of mental stabilization, mental concentration, where that itself has its own sort of like physiological benefits. Now you have extra benefits along with those. Okay. We will talk about as much as we can the benefits and so on and so forth, but mainly describing them and how they are developed. Okay. Before I begin, I would like to get into them deeply. I want to talk about, I think it's a riddle that we encounter when in science class. What happens when I think maybe I've mentioned this already, so you know the answer. Okay. What happens when an unstoppable force is an immovable object? Okay, you have 3 seconds. And that's supposed to be something that's supposed to make you think about, okay, but if it's unstoppable, then the immovable cannot stop it because it's unstoppable, but it's not movable, then if blah, 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 blah. So we are forced to think of it as a confrontation because unfortunately that's how we are. That's our default. Oh, what happens when those two things are trying to fight each other? Who's gonna win? That's how we interpret the question. So I've interpreted the question differently. Instead of confronting each other, trying to annihilate each other, what happens when they cooperate with each other? A force that is unstoppable and an object that is immovable. And that forces you to think differently, to think from a non-competitive perspective. And I have solved the problem. I know, I'm sorry. I know it's a 1,000-year-old question, and suddenly the answer. No, physicists with 23 PhDs and postdocs have not been able to solve the problem, but I solved it. The unstoppable force is emptiness, the true nature of reality. There's not a thing that exists from which you can remove the true nature of emptiness, so it is immovable. And the force that cannot be stopped is bodhicitta, or call it great compassion. There's nothing in the world that can stop the intent of bodhicitta. So what happens when they meet? You know the answer. Enlightenment. So now you can show off to your friends. You know the answer to the question that the physicists have not been able to answer. The unstoppable force is bodhicitta, or altruism, which is a kind of way of translating it, and the true nature of reality, which is emptiness. And when they meet, enlightenment is the result. Okay. Now, thinking of bodhicitta as an unstoppable force, that makes me think of power in the universe, the power in the sense of the capacity to do, right? The capacity to make things happen. The less able one is able to make something happen, you could say that person has less power. The more someone is able to make something happen, you could say that person has more power, right? Whether it's economic power, political power, psychological power, whatever the power may be, the capacity to effect a change in some form or another, that's why we say, oh, that person has the power. Okay. So unstoppable force, and the way we have to take it, that compassion is an unstoppable force. Great compassion is an unstoppable force. That when you are motivated by sincere compassion, you have nothing to fear, because there's not a thing in the universe that can stop you. The only thing that could stop you will actually merge with you. So you can actually fulfill your aim. So you can actually fulfill your intention. Okay. So the way, unfortunately, there's it seems like hatred and its enemies, and it's the hatred and its friends, the friends of hatred, seem to be overwhelming the planet. They seem to be gaining ground everywhere, where hatred seems to be the power, that which is bringing about effects, that which is bringing that which is changing things for its own benefit, right? And you sitting where you are, observing this, and unfortunately, the way hatred works is that it spurs you to action, and sometimes the way it spurs you to action is to disguise itself as you having concern, and fills your heart with it, and you become filled with hatred, thinking that you're not filled with hatred. Okay, so it's a great deceiver, where it can disguise itself as the very intention or emotion that you would love to adopt, because sometimes it may appear to be justice, but it's actually hatred and anger. And not to say that compassion doesn't deal with justice, but when hatred and anger tries to wield the sword of justice, all it does is destroy. And there's nothing creative that comes from it. Nothing regenerates from it. But when compassion wields the sword of justice, happiness, joy is the outcome, even though it destroyed something. What it destroys is what is blocking happiness. And what hatred destroys is the very root of happiness itself. Okay. So be careful, especially when you feel justice, a call for justice. Make sure it's not anger motivated by a kind of disliking, a kind of hatred. Let me break it down into its more raw state, because there's a way you can say anger is divine. There's a way you can say hatred is like hatred of the cause of suffering, a very strong wish to really see the suffering and the cause of suffering to be annihilated. So the energy that is displayed at that point can look like hatred, can look like anger. Okay, and because of this of the way that anger and hatred can have the appearance, can take the appearance that that compassion can also take. So we have to be very careful that, and the raw component is in hatred, in hatred and anger. That is the dysfunctional. Let's call it dysfunctional. There is a kind of a waiting for joy for the other to suffer. Like an evil person is doing some evil things, and then you want the evil person to suffer. Okay. Be careful. That could be, and it could present itself as justice. I want it to stop. I want that evil being to stop causing suffering. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. I want that evil being to stop causing others to suffer. But be careful with within that, there is, I want that evil being to suffer a little bit, to suffer. I want that evil being to feel and abide in the suffering that it is causing. Okay, so this kind of dysfunctional, intense energy of destruction towards something, towards the sentient being, that is connected to that is the dysfunctional anger holding the sword of justice, and all it does is cut the roots of goodness, cuts the roots of happiness. But when compassion wields the sword of justice, compassion, there's no one of the attributes of an enlightened being is that it is a state of being where there's not even the slightest what do you call it, a mind that is sort of hiding an intention that is selfish. Forget exactly what that term is, but an enlightened being doesn't have even the slightest of that measure of that. It doesn't have it at all. Okay, like someone could be out in the world, like appearing like I don't know. Think of a saint. Okay, never mind, because you can't think of a saint right now that someone then dig some dirt on. Okay, so we're not gonna name any because somebody said, but. So think of a saint in the ideal way, and someone acting in the world. Well, I guess actually you can think of actual saints because they actually fit this description. So a saint acting in the world, and they seem to be all, benevolent. All they want is the happiness of everyone else. But somewhere in their hearts, they're harboring a slight. They're hiding what's that thing? What's that thing called? Like there's a readiness for someone to fall. Like they may not say it, but they want to be the best saint. And because they want to be the best saint, there's a tiny jealousy of those who are similar to them. Okay. And also because they want to be the best saint, there's a tiny part of them that wants the people that they're helping to stay in the condition that needs them to help them. Okay, like if everyone there was no one needed their help, then they will feel like, oh, I guess my being a saint is useless. Okay, it's like a danger of reverting. Okay, so when there is sincere compassion, there isn't even there is not even a hint of that in your mind, where what you sincerely wish for, what compassion wants, is the end of suffering. That's what it wants. That's it. The only focus of compassion, the end of suffering. Wherever suffering exists, it wants to bring an end to it. It is a sincere, warm, affectionate sentiment towards others that is awakened when they see others suffering, and they want to do something to put an end to the suffering. Okay, and when we find ourselves that way, we have to be careful of habits. Compassion is usually, because in terms of I'm going to say it, how should I say it? In terms of the true, I have to say true nature of being, compassion is an intrinsic expression of that. Okay, so compassion is not a decoration. Compassion is an intrinsic aspect of the true nature of reality, of the true nature of being, where you could say, because of the true nature of reality is empty, open, that itself is also just but an expression, or another way of saying compassion and love. Okay? Love is like the space that makes all the myriad expressions, makes it possible for all myriad expression to be expressed. Okay, and compassion is determination to make sure that those expressions are in connection, or connected to their true nature. Love is the space that allows for all kinds of expressions. Love will allow for suffering to be. Okay? Not that love wants suffering, nor does love wants the absence of suffering. Love is just that pure openness that allows for all forms of expression. It's like it already knows that those are just expressions. They're not ultimates. They are but expressions. And the expressions are flowing from a space of pure freedom. They are flowing from a place of purity. So in a way, the thing, I hope I don't, well, if you become new age after this, it's not my fault. A little bit. You can sort of like put your mind into that sort of that mystical way of perspective, of where you accept as okay, when I'm looking at it this way, I understand where they say there's no good, there's no evil. Okay? But when you come straight, yes, there is good, there is evil. Because that's what was intended to be there. Okay? The power of creation creates experiences, creates realities. Okay? That the fundamental space makes it possible for all forms of expressions. Right? Now, the thing is, when people don't go here to understand, oh, I understand ultimately there's no good, there's no evil, but they're listening from here. And when you're listening from here in this place of duality, we say, oh, there is good and bad are the same thing. Actually, bad is good. No, bad is not good. Good is not bad. Okay? From a perspective, like, okay, this is the place where all things, all manifestations, all expressions are abiding, and underneath it, you understand how they arise from a inexpressible foundation. So from that inexpressible foundation, all things are arising from that. From that perspective, there is no ultimate this, no ultimate that. So love is at that level before the things come out and are expressed. It's like, it's right there, it's the space. So there is the inexpressible. You can't call it anything. You can't even call it enlightenment. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why you can't call it enlightenment. Because you're going to get into that thing. Oh, Hitler is enlightened too. Don't say that. Okay. So when the thing is, at this level that is inexpressible, the foundation of all things, that makes all things possible, when it begins as, and don't think in a linear way that it actually began, okay? This is just from our perspective where we see begins and endings, okay? So from our perspective, when we see begins and ending, we say, as it begins as an expression of it, of itself, as a way of being expressed, it's love and compassion intertwine, okay? And compassion is that space that allows, that it allows for everything that is to be, okay? And compassion is not right above it, but it abides. So you have the space. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, at my eyebrow, this is where all things exist, all things that manifest, right? Good, bad, right? And right below it, and permeating it, is the love, the space that allows it to be. And right in that space of non-manifest, the inexpressible is inexpressible. Okay, is here. Now, compassion is here with love, but at the same time, it is here. Okay, it's like it perceives through. So it sees that there are expressions that arise from the source of reality that are not really in alignment with that source of reality. Okay, and it 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 functions to act, to address them, to make them become in alignment with the source out of which they arose. All right. I hope that wasn't too confusing. So to say it in a different way, Love allows, compassion goes in and corrects. Because the intention of love is happiness. Okay? It's like, what would you call that? It's like a mother who allows her children to do whatever they want. What do you call that? What kind of mother is that? What do you call it? What's that word? Um, well, whatever that word is. Okay. So love is like a mother who wants her child to be happy. And whatever the child believes will make it happy, the mother will give it to the child. And the mother is connected to a source where the mother knows that if the child doesn't want it, I'll take it away. Okay? But the mother wants the child to be happy immediately, constantly. Okay? And whatever the child believes will make it happy, the mother will give it to the child. Okay? So that's like love. Okay? And compassion is sort of like, that's why compassion is always said to be immediately linked with wisdom. The child wants to be happy, but the child doesn't know exactly what will make it happy. Even though the child asks for this, thinking they will make it happy, space allows for the child to be connected to that, and the child doesn't become happy because the child steers away from the child's true nature. And because of that, the child experiences suffering, distance from true nature. So compassion comes to address it. Oh, you want to be happy, so you have to align yourself with true nature, your true nature. And the compassion comes and corrects the child's direction. So the child can be happy, but be happy in a way that is because of the child's alignment with the true nature. Okay. All right. So that I hope I was trying not to be philosophical. I tried, but the way to explain it, I had to go into some philosophical explanation that even my mind isn't tied in knots. Okay. All right. So, and then that determination to remove suffering, to realign beings so that they can have the happiness that they seek. So basically, what is happiness? Abiding in your true nature. That's what happiness is. Happiness is abiding in your true nature. What is not happiness? Distance from your true nature. That's what suffering is. And compassion is addressing that suffering. Okay. So when you are walking, minding your own business, and then you observe something, and what you observe calls something deep within you. That is that is the spontaneous, non-reactive, spontaneous spontaneous expression of deep connection. And you feel the need to address what you are seeing. Someone is suffering. Someone is in a place that is distance from where they should be, which is their true nature, which is what happiness is. And you feel moved to do something about it. And milliseconds after that, because of our habits of handing over our power to our misunderstandings, we immediately take this intention. We want to address the suffering that we are perceiving, and we hand it over to our misunderstanding. Hey, you take care of that. And because of that, there might be, you may be able to hold to the purity, to a degree, to the purity of the compassion. I see the suffering, I want to address it. I see the suffering, I want to address it. I see the suffering, I want to address it. But we keep leaning towards our misunderstanding to help us, to guide us. And because of that, then the compassion becomes tainted. Our own trauma may come up, and the trauma overtakes the intention, and it becomes not so much I want to address this suffering, but I want to address my trauma. I'm reliving my trauma, not really addressing it in a way of bringing some sort of resolution to it, but the habit energy of responding, the habit energy that we develop responding to trauma takes over, and it disguises itself as compassion. It becomes pity. It becomes what are called the deceivers of the deceivers, or the more likely, more precisely, they call them the near enemy. They are near enemy in the sense that if you allow them to continue to direct your actions, they will end up being the very opposite of where you wanted to go. So you had a compassion, you wanted to put an end to suffering, and then here you are becoming an executioner, holding the knife, wanting whoever to suffer as much as possible. There you are, you have become the instigator of suffering rather than the remover of suffering. Okay. And that's the danger of the near enemies. That's the danger of not purifying our compassion. And the way to purify it in the beginning is to simply make the admission, I feel this, I want to do something about it, but I'm at a loss. I don't know exactly what should be done. And I hope that wisdom comes with this compassion and guides me. And I also hope that one of the near enemies of compassion is indifference, where you should take some action, but it's connected to indifference, but it's more like what would you call that? It's a kind of an attitude where you feel that the more I know about the suffering, the more I become, the more despair I develop. And then, what happens? Remember, it's beautiful that the English word itself is compassion. Passion, having passion with. That is the passion that someone is having, you're also having it in a way. So it's compassion. So it is, and that's where the wisdom of it, it's a close connection to wisdom comes in. That you know from a feeling within you what the person may be going through. And depending on the degree to which you have compassion, somebody has compassion, they can feel even almost equal the suffering that the person is going through. But this feeling is not really a feeling, but rather it is a knowing. And we have to be able to make that distinction. When you're observing suffering and you feel really bad, the feeling bad is not a result of my eyes fell into suffering and now I'm contaminated with suffering. But rather, a part of you is so intimately connected to what you are observing, to what you are in contact with, that you have an intimate knowing of what is going on, that you actually, when you say, I know how it feels, you are being sincere. because you are knowing it through your own way of feeling. But as soon as you leave that person, and whatever it is that is causing that person to suffer, you're not in that. So the feeling dissipates. Okay? So that is for you a knowing, an intimate way of knowing what the other is going through. And because of this intimate knowing of what this other is going through, the habit of immediately grasping to experiences as this is my identity. When we're having an experience, we have the habit of immediately grasping to it as my identity. This is me. This is what I am. I am sad. That is what I am sad. That is what I am. I'm in despair. And when, because of this habit, then we may find ourselves, even though it's compassion that is giving us this knowledge, we fall into despair. So we become ourselves an object needing to be rescued. There we were, in a place to provide aid, to provide assistance, to aid someone out of a situation of suffering. And because, strangely enough, because of our deep capacity to know, we feel it, but we forget that it is just a knowing, and then we fall ourselves, and there we are sitting on the sidewalk with the person. Now we both need help. But your sense of you needing help is, as soon as the way to help you is to take you away from that situation. Take you away from that situation in the sense of, because you may take that situation into the environment of your mind, even though you go home, because you still have it with you, you still have that situation. So the way for you to be away from that situation is not just physically away, but emotionally taken away from that situation. So you need that knowledge. You need to know. You need to interact with the person in such a way that the person feels that this person knows what I'm going through. The Buddha is enlightened, is in nirvana, is in enjoying immeasurable bliss. And as he's the first thing he says, suffering. And if he didn't say it from a place of I know what it is, we would know. 2,000 years later, we wouldn't be talking about the Buddha. Okay, there was a guy going around saying, "I feel what you feel," and we know it. The guy didn't feel a thing. It's like somebody who's incapable of understanding what you're going through. You're not going to listen to them. You're not going to take their advice. You're not going to take them seriously. Something in you is going to tell you, this guy has no idea. This guy cannot help you. This person cannot help you. Okay. So that is, and there are people who have this in a very strong way. Like some people actually become physically sick when they observe suffering. And I want to tell you, anyone who's like that, it is not curse, it is a blessing. Not a blessing in a sarcastic way, a true blessing. You are truly capable of knowing what someone is going through. And because you have such deep knowledge of what the person is going through, that means you also have the capacity to connect to the knowledge of what is needed to remove it, to address it. Okay? So the deeper you're able to feel what's going on, that means the closer you are to being able to understand what is the remedy, what could be the remedy to the situation. So when it is an unwanted feeling, and you will witness the part of us that is trying to push that away. Don't become an escapist. I hope is that a proper psychological term? not just a magical, like seeking to escape. That is not addressing what is going on, and putting yourself in an imaginary place that you think you have solved it. That's escaping, right? That would be careful of becoming an escapist. An escapist? I don't know if that's an actual psychological term, but be careful of that, especially when you are capable of feeling deep things deeply. Okay? And remind you, and I have to ask you again, when you are feeling deeply, remind yourself, I am knowing deeply, and then I am close to the knowledge that is the remedy also. That's why you're able to feel so deeply. So allow yourself to feel it and allow yourself to be open to the remedy that is close by. Okay. All right. When and I can tell you from somewhat of a experience, when you don't have an environment that helps you to understand this, and in fact you have an environment that may be trying to tell you to not be that is there's something wrong with that, and you try to not be that, basically in a conventional way, try to not be your nature, someone who deeply feels, the most immediate way is to become what that expression, turn your heart to stone, where you think, and I'm telling you, you think you're not feeling anymore. You live in a way where you think you're not feeling anymore. Basically, you don't have access to your feelings anymore. And you will find yourself in situations where you would love to summon your capacity to feel certain things, and you don't have access to it. And then now you're going to go, I'm a monster. I can't feel anything. Okay. I shouldn't be laughing at you. I'm laughing at myself. Okay. You lost the capacity to, you lost access to that deep knowing. You put a block, basically, you just turn this way. It's still there, but you have no idea what's going on. And things are happening. And all of a sudden, and sometimes you feel like this, say, what? Who did that? Who did that? Who did that? Never turning this way, but going like this. Who did that? Who did that? Who did that? And it keeps banging at you because it doesn't stop. The dynamic doesn't stop. You don't stop to feel. You're feeling, but you're not aware until it builds up, and then you get knocked, and you have no idea where it's coming from. And you will find yourself looking at an apple, and you start crying, not knowing why you're crying. Okay, but it's just an apple, but it's so beautiful. Okay, you have no idea because we signed a contract. Oh, this is too much for me. I don't know how to handle it. Take care of it. I don't want to take care of it. I don't want to deal with this. And then your mind says, okay, okay, how do you make you not deal with it? Okay, we'll create a barrier. It's gonna keep happening, but you're not gonna see it, because seeing it is what's causing you to be dysfunctional. So we'll blind you. The will continue, but you will not be able to see it. Okay, and you will experience yourself as being cold-hearted, and that's what you will present to other people when you're feeling deeply and you're not knowing it, and it's affecting you, and yet people will see a cold-heartedness. You will see a cold-heartedness, and that will disturb you more. It will disturb you more than when you are seeing the suffering and you are disturbed by it. Okay, so that capacity comes from, if you believe in past lives, it comes from tremendous practice of the Brahma Viharas. Yes, we are talking about Brahma Viharas. It comes with a lot deep practice of the Brahma Viharas, where you are, in order for you to bring about change, in order to correct the straying away from true nature, you need the knowledge of what is happening, so that you can have the knowledge as to what exactly you must undo. Okay, it's like a knot. If you know how the knot started, if you can examine it, and you can say, oh, then here, then undo this, then undo that. So that's the knowledge that you're getting. That's what you are seeing it so vividly. That's why you're knowing it what's that word? So intimately. And once you're able to get over, that is, be able to make the distinction, this is knowledge, this feeling, even though I'm experiencing it as feeling, it's actually knowledge, it's knowing. And when you stay at the level of knowing, then surrender to the compassion, the purity of the compassion, as, okay, what should be the action now? And understand, okay, I am not perfect. I have made mistakes. I will make mistakes, but that is not what I want to do. But I really want to address this. And as you are getting inspiration on how to address it, stay very mindful. Don't think that, okay, now I have the instruction on what to do, and then just throw the instruction in front of you, so the instruction will take care of itself. Micromanage it. Okay, micromanage it in the sense of making sure it actually is fulfilling the aim of compassion. What is that? Remove suffering. Yes, sometimes temporary suffering could be a path to get to the end of no suffering, but make sure that this temporary path doesn't become the aim. Okay. I don't know where this is coming from, but I'll say this. We know those movies, vengeance movies, where they kill everyone in the family except for one person, and that one person ends up taking revenge. Okay, it's connected to what I just said. Okay, if we, in the pursuit of removing suffering, we end up being sidetracked, and we instead become the person who inflicts suffering. We are simply continuing the cycle of suffering. That's what I meant. We are simply continuing the cycle of suffering. Okay. So always remember suffering, compassion's aim, and try to stay in alignment with it. And when I said somewhere in the beginning, the close connection of compassion and the true nature of reality, is that the very openness, which is the nature of reality, abiding in itself, whatever movement it makes, it is compassion. Okay. Whatever movement that is made when abiding in true nature, that movement is compassion. Because as it moves, it remains in its nature. Moving but remaining in its nature. Moving and remaining in nature. The very movement is returning to this nature. Okay. So remember, compassion addressing, correcting the course so that it remains in its true nature. Okay. So that is a kind of coming out of the state of no expression whatsoever, or pre-expression, expression potential. Coming out of that, one of the expressions that points to the non-expressionable. Oh my goodness. That's compassion. All right. You thought it was going to be an easy thing where, oh, he's going to talk about some nice thing, nice feelings, compassion, be nice, da, 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 and end up making your head hurt. Ah, uh, there's an experiment I wanted to do. I wanted to study psychology, and I wanted to do an experiment. And the experiment was, it is said, when you develop the immeasurables to the level of samadhi, and you're abiding in it, the elements cannot harm you. So I would like to have a meditator abide in the state of samadhi of compassion, and we can pour gasoline on that person and see if that person will not burn. That's what it says. So I want to experiment. Okay, I'll volunteer. It's you're in a state of absolute harmony that nothing can disturb your harmony, not even the elements. Okay, and the idea of uh, um, predatory animals who are by instinct predatory, who as soon as they see something else they attack. If you're absorbed in that state, they will feel safe. They may even come to protect you. They will not see you as different from them. Bring a cat and then a dog, then a snake. Before you pour the fire, okay? All right. I think this is it for now. I'm almost came close to finishing on time. Any practical questions or impractical questions? Practical advice, impractical advice. There's love, there's space for whatever.
I have a question, or just to maybe a clarification of what you said. So this love, which is the nature of reality that is unconditional and gives permission for all things to arise,
Mm-hmm.
it is such that it can give it it allows that which is not in alignment with the nature of reality to arise, you're saying.
Yeah, yeah,
And therefore compassion is the thing that works to move those things back into alignment. Or does it
yeah.
extinguish those things?
Oh, by making the correction, those things become, yeah, become. So
Mm-hmm.
I hear the word in my mind, but my mouth can't make it.
Extinguish.
Extinguish. Yeah. There's a beautiful meditation. I don't know if I should say it. Oh yeah, I can say it because it's a preparation, even though it's way over there. It's a meditation where you're of purification, where you're connected with a pure energy, and the energy is spreading throughout. It's a purification, and when it comes in contact with what you might call negative energy, it immediately recognizes it as, this is just another one of our expressions. And it touches it, and then it now expresses itself a different way as a positive energy. It's a way of uh, not addressing really seeing our negative aspects, really wanting to change them, but not from a place of guilt. Okay. So what you said reminded me of that practice. You can imagine two brothers or two sisters or two siblings who are one is love, one is compassion. Imagine, and the mother is emptiness, right? Love and compassion, they both come from emptiness, and then they're going about and and love, is giving permission for all kinds of things to happen. And then love is saying, "Oh, what you worried about? It's all empty. What you worried about? It's all empty. It all comes from mother." Or you say mother has a bad side? And compassion is saying, "Oh, I'm not done. I'm not talking to you." It just goes and does its work. All right. That's a good idea for some sort of a comic strip, right? All right. I don't know. Yeah, that question was, your question was answered. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Let's do our closing meditation. While you are recalling the feeling that you had when you were in meditation, let that be communicated to all the dimensions of you. Allow those different dimensions to respond and feel their response in a cooperative way. The physical, the energetic, emotional, and all the rest. And you're just remembering how it felt in the body, in the breath, in the mind, spiritually, when you're in a meditative state. It's like the bell ringing, calling all those different parts to enter meditation. And at some point you start that feeling you felt when you were meditating that may give you the sense that you're meditating. It's stable and strong. And now take a nice deep breath and release. And as you release, just let yourself go, enter into that state of calm, pleasantness, joy, peace, clarity, radiance, focus, where you're not striving to be peaceful. Peace is just being. You're not striving to be joyful. Joy is just being. You're not fighting things that are appearing. It's just display. And once you feel reconnected, you're in meditation, you're taking it, rejoice. And in the very space where you are, no matter where you are, even if you're in a closet, go into the impossibility. All of us, without obstructing each other, without making each other uncomfortable, we are sitting comfortably in that space, in a circle. And we begin to contemplate I, the sense of self. How all these different parts, the energetic, the physical, the emotional, all these say self, I, one me. And as soon as the right hand needs something, the left hand is ready to help. And it doesn't say the left hand needs, it just says I need. Let this sense of the limitless potential of I-ness spread. Feel it for all of us. We are I. And as soon as someone needs something, we feel I need something. And we are ready to help, like the right hand ready to help the left. And because of this recognition, something appears in the center to sort of solidify this realization, a ball of light that is glowing brighter and getting bigger, the stronger this realization is in our hearts. And it expands, enveloping us. No longer do we see each other separately. We just see this ball of light, and it's us, it's me, it's I. Continues to expand. As it expands, it envelops into itself. Your pets, your neighbors, the room, the building, the neighborhood. It continues to expand. The grass, the trees, everyone. And that same feeling, instinct you felt for the right hand, for the left, for one of us, for the other. We feel it for everything. I need help. I'm ready to help. Until it envelops the totality of existence. You could be just the planet Earth, or it could be whatever feels for you, the totality, sincerely. And within that, we feel ready to help the sky, ready to help the rivers, the ocean, the trees, the grass, the flying beings, the crawling beings, the running beings who call themselves Democrats, call themselves Republicans, liberals, independents. Feel it's us, it's me. That connection, that compassion, that love, let it be its nature, unbounded. If it's other, it is me. If it's me, then it's just an expression. Other is an expression of me. Other is all other is worthy of love and compassion. Now this realization becomes solidified, and we no longer need this outer appearance to help us. So the big ball of light begins to shrink, and as it shrinks, whatever it touched, whatever absorbed, as it reappears, it shimmers and glows until it becomes again a ball in the very center of our circle. And it divides itself into light rays entering each of our hearts. And we have the conviction in our hearts, whenever I help myself sincerely, I help everyone. Whenever I help everyone sincerely, I help myself. And feel that readiness, that buoyant energy. And let go and go into just the space of the meditation, feeling the peace, the joy, the clarity, the radiance, the focus, rejoice. Feel the merit energy of tonight's meeting together, and be ready to come out and dedicate this merit energy. What is it that your compassion is concerned about. Let this merit energy address it. Ready to come out? Take a nice deep breath. Release. And as you release, deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings, feeling the temperature, the feel of your clothing, your seat, hearing the different sounds that are close and far, and allowing your eyes to take in light, noticing colors, shapes, lights, shadows. Okay. Thank you.